Let's take a look at the chart action for Bitcoin. Okay, so here's what I've been looking at. I'm on the 4-hour time frame right now, and I was watching this resistance and this resistance. I had this trend line going down like this. We broke this trend line going to the upside, and it looks like we had a little bit of trouble and started coming back down. I was wondering if we were going to get a bounce and come back up. The other thing I was watching is this uptrend going up like this, except I was watching this support, and I might have miscalculated this. I probably should have been watching this support and this one, these lower ones. So let's go ahead and readjust this trend line because I was watching this line, but we broke it going to the downside and then got that bounce back up. So I think if I would have been looking at it something more like this, let's go ahead and readjust it. You can see that we're still on this trend line moving to the upside. And this one makes a little bit more sense in retrospect. So the next spots that I'm looking at for resistance are the previous resistances. We have one right here and then one right here. Let's go ahead and set up some horizontal lines because I think these are the next spots that could either give us trouble, or if we break through them, then we could get more confident on heading to the next one. And the first one is sitting at around 42.5K. And then, so let's say if we could come up here, it already kind of looks like we've been testing this area right here and it looks like we're getting a little bit of trouble. It looks like the volume's declining a little bit as well. So that's like the volume declining isn't really a good sign. And I don't know, I'm just kind of curious what's going to happen at this area right here. Are we going to be able to break through this area at around 42.5K and hit the next one at around 44.4K, or are we going to get rejected around here and start heading down? We readjusted this trend line and it does still look like we're still above this trend line right here, but it does look like we're having some trouble and the volume is declining right around this previous resistance area. However, I do think if we could break 42.5K, then the next spot that I'll be looking at is around 44.4K. And then if we jump out into the daily time frame, the other thing that I've been watching is, let's go ahead and zoom out and clear this up a little bit. We have resistance, resistance, and resistance. This is on the daily time frame. I was watching this trend line going up like this. I think if we could break 44.4K, and then the next spot that I'll be looking at is 45,000 from this trend line. And if we could break above that, then I'll get more confident on looking at the next previous resistance, or even possibly a pattern target from this little channel here. Let's see, let's go ahead and draw the bottom of this little channel. We have something like this. We're bouncing in between these two trend lines, and I think if we break this top trend line at around 45,000, then maybe we can target from the top to the bottom of this channel, maybe something like this, drag this to the breakout. If we could break out going to the upside, we have two things that we're looking at. This target from this channel pattern sitting around 53.8K, and the previous resistance right here. Let's go ahead and set up another horizontal line, copy and paste, and we'll be looking at something like this, possibly around approximately around 51,000. So in general, the steps that I'm looking at are step 1, 42.5 thousand. If we could break above that, then we'll be looking at step 2 around 44.4 thousand. If we could break above that, I'll be looking at 45,000. And if we could break above that, then I'll get much more confident on maybe 51 or even possibly 53.8, 53.7. The other thing that I've been watching a lot, let's go ahead and delete this and let's jump over to the weekly time frame. I've been looking at this for a while now, and I'm talking about the 9 moving average right here on the weekly time frame. Right now, we are sitting above the weekly 9 moving average. What I really want to see us do is close this candle above this 9 moving average. The moving average right now is sitting at around 39.2 thousand. We have 1 day and 7 hours to stay above this. And then I think if we could close above this, that's going to be a good sign. And then what we'll want to look for next week is to stay above this area as well. In general, I think closing above this 9 moving average and then getting another candle on above it will be a good sign. I like being above the 9 moving average because sometimes we can get support on it as opposed to getting resistance on it. We broke below the 9 moving average right here and been getting resistance. If we could stay above it, maybe we could start getting support on it and move to the upside. So I think in general, in the shorter time period, I'm watching the 4-hour time frame. I'm watching this uptrend going up like this. Now that we readjusted it, it still looks like we're above it. But I'm also watching the volume, and the volume is declining. I would like to see this volume start to get a little bit bigger. I would like to see us get a little bit more volume, some more green volume. And the next spots that I'm looking at for resistance are 42.5 thousand and 44.4 thousand. If we could break this first one, then I'll get much more confident on the next one at around 44. And if we could break above that one, I'll be looking to break 45,000. Once we break 45,000, then I'll be getting more bullish and looking at maybe 51. And I think if we do break above this, then that's going to be a bullish signal in general. Like I said, the volume is declining, and it looks like we are having a little bit of trouble. We haven't quite got to this 42.5K yet, but it does look like we're having a little bit of trouble right there. The other thing I was noticing, if we go to the daily time frame and we look at the candles from here, if we drag this resistance down to the candles at around maybe 42,000, somewhere around there, it does look like it's lining up with the spot that we're having trouble with right now. In general, I think if we could break above 42,000 though, then I'll be looking at 44. And then if we go back to the 4-hour time frame, if we break this trend line going to the downside, I'll be looking at the previous support levels. We might be coming back down to these bottom levels somewhere around 38.3 thousand, maybe even a little bit lower, maybe 37.7. I don't know, it really just depends, but these are kind of the things that I'm looking at for signals. We have this trend line right here. If we break this going to the downside, I think that's going to be bearish. And then if we break this little resistance area right here, let's go ahead and maybe set up a little box. We have a top right here, and then we also have this little top right here. The bottom of it is the daily time frame, and the top of it is the 4-hour time frame. I think if we could break out of this little box right here, then I'll get more confident on around 44.4K. Let me know what you guys think though. If you guys liked the video, hit that thumbs up button.